In the package from China there is also something cool to find. In today's video we're going to take a close look at the Xulu, the XR1 Pro Edition, the mini desktop PC, and this thing is absolutely tiny. And it comes with a lot of power, but is it enough power that we can play all our emulation or just our typical games? We're going to do a quick overview of a lot of different games, think about indie, let's say AAA games, and of course emulation, and deep dive. Is this thing worth the money and how far can we actually push it? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. Today's video I wanted to take a close look at the Xulu XR1 Pro. I already did a review of the light version, but I was really intrigued by the, let's say, more powerful device. But a little bit of a bummer that they are using a 5 series AMD. It's kind of weird to be honest, simply because there's already a 7000 series out now. Don't get me wrong, it's not that they're super bad when it comes to the AMD Ryzen 5 series. No, not at all. This comes with a 5600U that in total have like 6 cores and total 12 threads. Then having the base frequency turbo, then having the 2.3 GHz and turbo 4.2 GHz, and in GPU is the AMD Ryzen RX Vega 7. The chipset and all this stuff is outdated, but there is still a lot of cool stuff we can play. In combination with the time 4 factor, this is a lot of, let's say, cool stuff you can bring with you when it comes to gaming and emulation. But let's take a close look what we're going to get inside the package. So first of all, we're going to get this very cool carrying case. The adapter we're going to get is a 90 volts 3.42 amps. Nothing very special. Also when it comes to the connector itself, this is just your typical barrel jack connector. In here we're going to get ourselves, I think it was stickers, then the instruction manual or promotion material with showing you all kinds of versions we're having. The smallest Ryzen based in the world as they claim to be. They come in different kind of colors, and when you're going to purchase one of them you can just pick yourself a certain color. I think it's pretty cool. Stone white, fire engine red, and a lot of cool different ones. Opening it up, here we can find the manual of the XR1 Pro. And here we're going to see an overview of the Lite, Pro and Max. Unfortunate, as making this video don't have the Max, so we cannot do a benchmark between the three of them. Would be kind of cool to do that. Over here, the version we're having here is the Pro. It comes with the Ryzen 5, where the Lite we reviewed before comes with the Ryzen 3, and the Max comes with the Ryzen 7. So the question remains, of course, how much of a performance boost will it be when it comes to overall gaming? So when you're looking at the measurements, this thing is absolutely tiny. The machine itself comes also with an HDMI cable, a very nice quality one, if I may say myself. Then of course a quick overview of the features. It comes with LPDDR4, in total 16GB dual channel, can be upgraded to max 64GB, and of course a 1TB M2 SSD. Depending what kind of version, there are different versions out there. So when it comes to the carrying case, this is basically what holds the device and the power supply. But let's take a close look at the device itself and the optional ports. So first of all, it comes also with a built-in display that will give you the indication of how hot it will get and some other information. Nevertheless, it's kind of cool, and it's indeed, so far I know, the smallest AMD Ryzen based one that only weighs 544 grams, so also the weight is absolutely crazy. Then at the front we're going to get 2 USB ports, a jack and the Type-C. At the back we're going to get 4 USB, 2 HDMIs, RJ45 and input for the power supply. So when it comes to the USB ports, there are just enough. At the bottom we're going to get 2 huge strips for the grip. And at the top we're going to get ourselves the on and off switch for powering on and off the device itself. And then of course the intake is also be found on the top. So let's peel off the sticker. And I will show you what you're going to get with the tiny LCD at the front. And I must say that it is very bright and noticeable. And there's a very cool feature that shows the time, the fan speed, and also the temperature. There is only one fan and it will take the air from above, and I would say it is not loud at all, even on the highest setting. Booting up the device itself will give you the system preparation tool to set it all up in the way you want to do with the Windows 11 preparation tool. The first game I wanted to try out is just a basic indie game where I also play on the light version. This is Mini Motor Racing X, and this has been set to 1080p, all settings to the highest. Nevertheless, this game runs absolutely epic, a fun game to play. And I think when you're looking into like indie gaming, party games, with a machine like this you can just play them all, and even on high resolutions. if you are like me and you just want to play some old school games like this Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast, this runs absolutely perfectly on a mini PC like this. And there are so many thousands of games you can actually play on full speed on higher resolutions. But if you're going to deep dive into some more demanding games, AAA games, think about on Soul Calibur, this runs very well on 1080p. But when I'm looking into the ultra and medium settings, we need to do a little bit tweaking all the way back from ultra and high to medium, because if you're not going to do this, we do have like a mixed performance running around 40 FPS.
When souls collide, chaos erupts.
Quench your thirst. I'll silence your incessant mouth forever.
Battle 1. Fight!
Another game I love to play and test is Crash Bandicoot Trilogy, but where the Lite had a lot of problems running this, with this particular version we have a better performance. With in combination of 1080p, all everything set to low, we do have okay performance with around 40-45 FPS. It's not the best overall experience. If we lower the resolution, we can have an even better, maybe 60 FPS in the end. But the question remains, what kind of resolution do you want to play this particular game? But getting into the emulation, there we do have absolutely great performance. PlayStation 2 is one of those systems that can be played without any problem. So I think it's pretty damn cool to have like a mini PC in this size, and just you can actually play all of your PlayStation games on the go without any problem whatsoever. Next up, some God of War Chains of Olympus for the PlayStation Portable with the PPSPP emulator, 8x resolution. Tried 10 times, but then we're going to get frame dips to the 40-50, and I find it not really enjoyable. So 8x is the max resolution that this thing can handle. Another system that runs quite well is the Castlevania game for the PlayStation 3. Not the most demanding game out there, but just want to random pick one of my favorite games. And I can tell you that this particular game runs very well. And the overall performance is just really enjoyable. I don't notice a lot of re-rendering in the game itself. So this chipset is just more than powerful enough to run your favorite PlayStation 3 games. Of course, depending what kind of game. And again, it's quite interesting to see that such a tiny device have the power enough nowadays to run PlayStation 3.
Kill him! Die, devil!
Amazing performance, GameCube F-Zero GX on 1080p resolution. I've been trying to upscale it a little bit further, but I did notice when you're going to do this, it's going to get ourselves 40-50 FPS. And in my opinion, it's unforgivable, especially when you're playing a fast game like this. Nevertheless, if you just want to play some 1080p GameCube, that's also possible with this tiny Xulu device. A quick look with some Sonic colors with the Wii. We do have like a great performance on the tiny Xulu mini PC. But if you want to play some Xbox 360 on the go with the Xulu, that is unfortunately not possible, because there is where we're going to find ourselves the emulation bottleneck, or better said, this is not powerful enough to run 360 on the go. So that's basically where we find the limit of the device. The smallest AMD PC in the world? Okay, so let's do a little bit of a teardown, because I just wanted to check out how this thing has been assembled. The first part is that we're going to get 4 tiny imbus bolts that we can remove over here, and that will also remove the top plate. It's just a metal plate. We can also have a tiny filter over it, so that keeps the dust out. The overall construction, I can tell you, it's quite genius. At the back, we're also going to get another 4 imbus bolts that we need to remove, and that will also grant us the option to slide it out and to basically open it up. There is a metal plate at the back over here that covers everything up. And then we can slide out the tiny machine out of this housing. And this is basically construction. And the construction, I do have mixed feelings about it. While I think it's absolutely a beautiful piece of engineering, the downside, if you need to upgrade, it's going to be absolutely a nightmare. Then we're going to get ourselves 4 parkers that we need to remove. Basically, they connect both main boards to the main plastic, or let's call it the frame. You cannot remove it that easily, because there are 4 ribbon cables, 2 on each side, that will hold the both main boards together too, because that's also the communication method. And that is why it's going to be quite tricky. So we need to remove all of the 4 ribbon cables, and then we can remove the top and bottom part. When the 4 ribbon cables have been loosened, we can just get into the SSD that is attached to the bottom main board. Yep, that's the way how you need to replace or upgrade the SSD. I must say the MDU SSD that's in here is already a huge one, so maybe the first upgrade will be 2 TB, but also there is no other way to attach a second one. And when you want to replace the RAM modules, there are 2 of them. Yep, it's the same mumbo jumbo. You need to remove the fully tear down the device with removing every the ribbon cables to get to the top part. And I think that is also just the biggest downside to this piece of engineering, that I'm thinking replacing or upgrading, it's not going to be an easy task. So take that one in consideration. Though that covers everything when it comes to the Xulu. The product itself is a very cool, unique design. I'm personally using the light particular version for indie games and just bring this thing easy with me in the carrying case. It's such a cool idea, and again, with the limitation of the power, there is still a lot of stuff that we can actually play. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this. Thank you all for watching, and it would be great to see you in the next video.